The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Kyle, do you remember back when we did the old show where we asked an Edmonton-based guest what the best thing about Edmonton was, and he said a donaire shop? Come on, man.
Dude, man, I don't know. You know, back in the day when he told me that, I was making fun of him. But now I'm 30 and a half years old, and donaires are right up there with family when it comes to the best things in life. And honestly, the most consistent things in life. For real. Anyways, Western Conference Power Rankings on today's episode. Why not?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right. All I'm saying is, as a place that has, donaires is the top attraction in town, they ain't winning the Stanley Cup, but more on that in a little bit. I'm Trevor Banks. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. Myself, I'm the co-host of Locked On Canucks, also a writer over at Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because it is your Canucks every damn day, baby. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Speaking of subscribing, we are giving away 2 tickets to Canucks versus Kings Monday, March 25th. If you want to enter the contest, you can either subscribe to this channel on YouTube or go leave us a 5-star review on a podcasting platform of your choice, Spotify, Apple, where you think we could find it. And then on top of that, you got to subscribe to the Discord, okay? Link in the bio for that. Join the conversation with Canucks fans. And who knows, maybe you'll learn a thing or two about Kyle and I, aside from his 2 talking heads here on Locked On Canucks. Let's get into it, though. Before we get into it, I got to shout out FanDuel, okay? Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. The Canucks and the Avalanche play tonight, but I think what's on my mind and what's on Kyle's mind as well is where the Canucks stack up against the contenders in the Western Conference. And you know what that brings me to is hating on the Edmonton Oilers, okay? Trying to make this rivalry happen. I see the Canucks and Oilers on a crash course to meet in round 2 of the playoffs. We'll see if it actually happens. But today, let's get into it. Why the Canucks are still better than the Oilers. I don't care what the record says under Chris the Knob. The Canucks are still better than the Oilers, and we're going to tell you why coming up next. We'll also break down the contenders in the Western Conference, where we think the Canucks rank among those contenders, and throw a little shade at the Athletic, who had the Canucks with the 10th best cup odds in the league, despite being the second best team right now in the NHL. And of course, we'll talk a bit about that Canucks and Avs game later tonight. Big matchup, baby. I might even, I got to go see some buddies tonight. I might miss some of it. They ain't hockey fans, but I'll be watching on my phone. But I might ditch them and go watch at a bar for a bit, to be honest with you.
Do it, man.
So lots on my mind, man. But let's get into it. Before we get into it, let me introduce someone who might hit Edmonton more than I do. And that's Kyle Bowen. How's it going, brother?
That's true, man. That's true. I definitely do hate the Edmonton Oilers. And, honest person, honest podcast, Kyle Bowen here. Beggsy, you can attest to this. I think I said that right. Bro, it wasn't that long ago, right? 14 months ago, maybe 12 months ago, maybe 11 months ago, where the Canucks sucked, and they sucked for a long time. And, I've always been a diehard Canucks fan, but I was so pissed off and so bored of the Vancouver Canucks. I wanted something fresh for my hockey viewing experience. And there I was, kind of wanting McDavid to win a cup. You can admit that. Don't you remember that?
You said that multiple times, yeah.
I said that multiple times, but look what happened. You got me back into loving the Canucks full time. And I realized that, bro, in life, sometimes you're a hypocrite, okay? In life, you become a phony every now and then, okay? It is what it is, but I'm aware and I'm accountable. And now I'm doing this, okay? Locked On Canucks, you're Canucks every day. Hit the like button, the subscribe button again. Join the Discord and enter a chance to win 2 Canucks tickets. Look at this, okay? Before we roast the Oilers, we will tee up the Avalanche versus the Canucks. But man, oh man, how could I not read this comment in my mind and not tell the people? Look at this, okay? We face Colorado tonight. In their last 4 games, Colorado has scored 20 goals and have allowed 5. We have been, doing pretty well too. We've scored 12 goals. We've allowed 3. We're both 4-0. This is a matchup, yo. This is a matchup, and we'll be talking about that matchup in 20 minutes. First off, let's beat up the Oilers, okay? I want to go in so many different directions with this. My mind is all over the place, so I'm going to let you start. But it straight up is beat the Oilers, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the reasons why I think we need to do this is because the Oilers are getting a ton of Stanley Cup love right now, and I get it. I get it. They got the best player in the world in Connor McDavid. They got a top 10 player in the world in Leon Draisaitl. They got a defense that's looking better than it has before, although it has some flaws. But much like the Colorado Avalanche did, they had to suffer a couple playoff failures before getting over the hump. And I think it's easy to tie that narrative to the Edmonton Oilers and say that it's their time. But I look at this team and I still don't see a team that should be considered a Stanley Cup favorite, which they are by most betting platforms. Our friends over at FanDuel, they have the Oilers have some of the best cup odds. We're going to get into the Athletics post trade deadline breakdown of ranking of contenders. They have the Oilers with the second best cup odds in the West and the fourth best cup odds overall, which is, spoiler alert, ahead of your Vancouver Canucks. But Connor McDavid having another all-world season. But, I look at this team and I'm not sold on their goaltending. I know Stuart Skinner's played better. They got the new coach bump. Yeah. They got that last year under Woodcroft, and how did that go? But I just don't think their depth is even as good as it was last year, to be completely honest with you. Like Evander Kane's taking a big step back. They got guys like Ryan McLeod, Warren Fogle in the top 6 right now. I know they added Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick, big whoop. They've boosted the bottom 6. They got old man Corey Perry on the 4th line. Connor Brown, who I still think doesn't have a goal this season, if I'm not mistaken. 54 games and 0 goals. Unbelievable, okay? And I look at their defense too. And, we talk about the defensive depth on the Canucks. We talk about the depth at forward on the Canucks. And I look at Edmonton, and Ekholm and Bouchard, great top pairing. But aside from that, you have Cody Ceci, who's taking a step back. Darnell Nurse, who I think is a heavily flawed player. Vincent Desharnais, who's basically a glorified tough guy, playing in top 4 right now in Edmonton. On some nights, and then Brett Kulak as well. So, again, I look at this Oilers. I don't necessarily see a Stanley Cup contender.
Me too, man. I see a team that's not really that deep.
Yeah.
Look at this comment, okay? Mike is. Do you want to say something? Oh, your mic cut out, Trevor. Okay, so Mike is saying that the Oilers fans are distracted by McDavid's personal trophy case. This team is way better than Edmonton top to bottom. When he refers to this team, he's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. And West Coast bias here, and a lot of recency bias too, right? It's not like Trevor Beggs is watching 82 Oilers games. It's not like I'm watching 82 Vancouver Canucks games. Well, I am. It's not like I'm watching 82 Edmonton Oilers games. I'm sorry. But when you list off the names, and the few times I've watched the Oilers play, they're a fast-paced team, blah, blah, blah. But the names are not, it's not just about the names. I just feel like they don't have the depth to even come close to winning a cup this year. Straight up. And I think the replacement players that they brought in over the last 12 months are just boring. They don't push the needle. That's not the type of swagger you want surrounding Connor McDavid. It's the truth. I think the Canucks in general have A, more experience in their depth, B, more championship pedigree, and C, overall, more complete two-way players. Like there's a true professionalism throughout the lineup when you're talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Beggsy, what do you have to say about all that?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Kyle. Right? I think the depth is a little sus, to be honest with you. I think one of the points I said is I don't see them as a Stanley Cup contender. Okay, I'll say this: they're a Stanley Cup contender, but I don't think they should be the Stanley Cup favorite that everyone's making them out to be. And that's not me being dramatic. Look at the Athletic; they're top 3 in cup odds. The Athletic FanDuel has them top 3 in cup odds. The Athletic has them top 4 in cup odds, right? Pretty much all other betting platforms I look at have the Oilers around top 3. Like they are a Stanley Cup favorite. And part of it is because it's been that way since the opening night of the season, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at kind of combined betting odds through different platforms, it was Oilers and Hurricanes who had the best cup odds. So I think it's just kind of sending them the narrative, man. Come on. And maybe it's this, man. Maybe it's living in a city like Edmonton, a brown, gray city like Edmonton with 8 months of winter where, maybe it's just not good on the players' morale, man. Humans were sensitive beings, man. I think we're more sensitive nowadays. Maybe that's part of the situation.
Again, I just think it comes down to the simple fact of them not acquiring the best depth to surround Connor McDavid. And people kind of look at Connor McDavid's contract and that's what you get, blah, blah, blah. Look, you can do a lot better with your professional scouting. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like Alvin spent a lot of money to get the replacements he got over the last couple of off seasons. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, who would have looked pretty good in in Edmonton, I think they wanted a couple of the guys the Canucks got, and that's like Sam Lafferty, Pius Suter, and a guy like Teddy Bluger. We got all those guys. Again, a lot of experience. It's one of those things too, Trevor. Again, all over the place. It's been a really busy morning. Not the strongest start on this episode of Locked On Canucks for me, but maybe it's not just the fatigue that I'm in. It may also be because we're talking about the Oilers, and I have to be a little bit honest as well. You know, like I'm talking ish about their depth and Ken Holland not doing his due diligence and not doing the best for Connor McDavid, blah blah blah. But there is also a part of me, you know, like you're talking about us meeting them in the second round of the playoffs. We're talking about a team that historically over the past, I know they lost 2 straight games recently, but anyways, they're on like a historic pace right now. If you look at what they've done in the last 35 games, the last 40 games, it's pretty crazy, bro. It's pretty crazy. It's like in the top 0.1%, probably in like NHL history when it comes to stretches of success. So they're on a heater. But overall, when it comes down to it, and somebody mentioned this in the comments, when we get to the playoffs, I truly do believe, and I didn't know we were going to get to this point with the Canucks this quick. I totally believe that the Vancouver Canucks are going to be an extremely hard team to beat because they're going to be playing 4 lines. And yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek because they're that good. And in fact, Quinn Hughes is like twice the defenseman as Ekholm or Bouchard. And those guys are really good. I'm just saying Quinn Hughes is on a heater right now. He's Connor McDavid-esque. That guy's going to be playing 30 minutes a game against you guys in the second round. We got you. We really do. But even Carson Soucy, Ian Cole, Noel Juleson playing a lot better. Tyler Myers being maybe your 7th defenseman. Nikita Zadorov playing with a lot of swagger, playing for the need for a contract. I just think overall the Canucks have a pretty deep team. I think the league is not recognizing that. And just by me spewing out some of those names and, again, us playing this new style of hockey over the last 4 games, a 4-line team, hard to play against, boom, bam. Even I'm surprised at how deep the team is going into, again, year 2, almost full-time with the Alvin and Rutherford.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point about the league not respecting the Canucks' depth, because that's what I want to get into in segment 2, where we look at, the Canucks compared to other contenders in the Western Conference, because the Athletic in particular, the list I'm going to use, they're using the numbers, and I like the numbers. Okay, I'm a numbers guy. But I don't think they're respecting.
Okay, but you're a feelings guy too. Okay, so I told you that I'm pretty much a little bit scared of the Oilers. Got to be, okay, because historically speaking, they just put on a stretch of success that is kind of unmatched over the last 35, 40 games, and they also got Connor McDavid. There has to be the sports fan in you. It's like you're playing Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Like, isn't that like? Are you not scared at all of the Edmonton Oilers? I'm curious.
Oh, I don't think it's gonna be an easy series. Come on, man. Like we're talking trash here on Locked On Canucks. You're Canucks every day. We're having some fun. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a walk in the park. I think if it's gonna be Canucks and Oilers round 2, I'm picking Canucks in 7. I'm gonna say that right now. But don't want to jump the gun too much, obviously. But
are you watching Oilers highlights every night? Because that's what I'm doing, just to hope that they lose.
I try my best to watch as much hockey whenever possible. I'll put it that way. So yeah, I've watched a good chunk of Oilers highlights, but hopefully I'm watching Canucks and Oilers play in the playoffs. But before we get to Oilers and Canucks, we got to talk about the Stanley Cup rankings, the contenders going into the postseason. Let's break that down on the other side. Before we do that, let's shout out a couple of our friends over at Sleeper and eBay Motors. All right, Canucks fans, we're in the stretch drive, 14 games to go, and guess what? Your Canucks still first overall in the Western Conference. Let's go, baby. Regardless of where the Canucks are in the standings, though, I got to tell you that, you could win some big buckaroonies by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy hockey. And because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Elias Lindholm, Connor Garland, or Dakota Joshua will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Canucks fans. You could win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code Locked On NHL. See Sleepers terms reviews for details and locational availability.
Boom. Bam. Shout out to Sleeper, yo.
All right. Passion, drive, and patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy. And it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride, every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your rust bucket alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
We back, yo. We back, okay? It's going to be a better second half of the show. I feel it. But what happened there in the first half, man? It's a bad start. It is what it is. Sometimes you have your bad first periods, but, it's how you finish the game. It really is. And again, maybe it has something to do with Edmonton being a little triggering, because is there some insecurities in me? Real talk. I'm a soft, emotional sports fan. And Trevor, remember, a couple months ago, we buried these guys. We drove them to the funeral. I'm not talking about the Canucks. I'm talking about Locked On Canucks. Okay? There's a couple clips out there gaining some steam. Oilers fans are mad. They're finding it on their algorithm, okay? It is what it is. All in all, though, as insecure as I am, possibly, because again, I have a crazy appreciation for like that primetime 1% athlete. Okay, I just told you about Patrick Mahomes. Like, dude, you just gotta always fear a guy like that. Okay, because like it's crazy. You know what? We're playing a guy like that tonight, Nathan McKinnon. I don't think we talk about that enough. Like the way he's playing over the last couple of seasons, it's pretty generational too. Let's be honest. Let's be real. But yeah, those guys, man, you can like have all the confidence in your team. And I'm looking at the comments. I'm loving it. The comments are more confident than me right now. Okay, these guys are talking about dynasty. We got this. Blah blah blah. And here I am, just a little bit scared of Connor McDavid. Okay, I gotta respect the dude. That being said, when we played them in round 2, we're beating them in 3 games. Okay, do the math. Do the math. Begsy power rankings. Okay, talk about this whole Western Conference dynamic. The Vancouver Canucks, probably the most consistent team all year long in the NHL, 7 All-Stars, blah, blah, blah. Thatcher Demko, I know he's hurt, but he's still there. You know what I'm saying? And here's pretty much everyone picking 6 other teams in the West before they pick the Vancouver Canucks. It's if I'm Rick Tocchet, that's bulletin board material.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't mind the Canucks having that underdog mentality, and I think there's disrespect because they sucked in past seasons. They haven't been to the dance in a while. But yeah, I kind of want to bring this up because I was looking at The Athletic, and they did their post-trade deadline Stanley Cup contender rankings. And the Canucks, again, I see it as there being 6 main contenders in the West. The West is the stronger conference this year by far. And you look at the Western Conference, and the Canucks rank 6th. So they rank last among the heavy contenders in the West. So The Athletic had it as Dallas, then Edmonton, then Colorado, then Vegas, then Winnipeg, and then your Vancouver Canucks. Despite the fact that the Canucks right now, again, are 1st overall in the Western Conference and 2nd overall in the NHL. Again, they have the 6th best odds in the West and the 10th best cup odds overall, according to The Athletic.
I'm pissed.
And a lot of that comes from the disrespect towards the Canucks' depth. So they basically see, Pius Suter's, kind of having a negative impact offensively. Nils Höglander as, kind of being a wash, not as impactful, I think, as we see him here in Vancouver. Kind of ditto for Dakota Joshua as well. And then they have kind of Sam Lafferty, Teddy Bluger as, minus players in terms of their contributions. So I do think there's a lot of disrespect here, a lot of disrespect to the defense as well. They basically have Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek as being, top notch, but then Cole Soucy, Zadorov Myers as being kind of negative value in terms of net rating. So yeah, just again, there's disrespect going on to the depth in the Canucks organization because you and I were watching the games. I don't think we're watching it with bias. We see a defense that's cohesive, a team that's getting better. You look at the Canucks since January 1st, They've allowed the third fewest shot attempts against in the entire NHL. This isn't just a PDO wagon anymore, okay? This is a team that, especially for the last week, out shooting, outplaying opponents, not giving up any chances.
Wheel it back, okay? You didn't even cut out, okay? I heard you loud and clear, but say it again, bro. Can you say that whole stat again? Say it twice, please.
The Athletic has the Canucks with the 6th best cup odds in the Western Conference and the 10th best cup odds overall, despite the fact, again, that they are 1st overall in the West and 2nd overall in the NHL.
No, I'm talking about the shots. Just tell me about how they've been playing like way better. It's not just a PDO thing. Okay. I want to get hard right now. I want to get stiff. No, I mean, like,
I can see it already happening for you, man.
Like the feelings towards my, my belief in the Canucks and the hope that we can talk about them being lucky and having to overcome the lack of experience, blah, blah, and the Cinderella from worst to first type of campaign that ultimately leads them to the Stanley Cup. And again, luck has a lot to do with that. But, bro, I know it's only been 4 games, but in these 4 games, they've played a way that I think is relatable to past champions and also sustainable for this crop of players with this coaching staff. So again, like what do they rank amongst teams when it comes to shots on goal, blah, 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 everything that was not happening early on with their success? Again, just say that stat.
Yeah, so really again, I have the stats here since January 1st, and they've allowed the 3rd fewest shot attempts against. They rank 2nd overall in high danger chances.
Ooh, what?
And they rank 4th, and they've allowed the 4th fewest high danger chances against. So again, they're tops in the league in terms of creating high danger chances. They're one of the best teams at not allowing high danger chances. Like, it doesn't get much better than that, to be honest with you. And on top of that, they got the goaltending to boot. The goaltending has been just so rock solid for this team as well. I mean, it's a team of elite finishers. It's a team with depth on both offense and defense. And they got one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. So knock on wood, hopefully he's back and healthy. Reports say that's going to be the case with the playoffs again about 5-ish weeks away, and Demko's timeline being about that 2 to 4 weeks. So there's a lot of reasons why I like the Vancouver Canucks right now. And again, compared to the competition, the Colorado Avalanche, for instance, I mean, they got the cup pedigree, they got the star power, but to me, they don't necessarily have the depth, although they improved that at the deadline. They don't necessarily have the goaltending, and they have not been a team that's controlled possession this season. To me, that's a big factor in that as well. So I'm going to tell you what my rankings are. Again, I kind of told you what the Athletics rankings were in terms of cup favorites. How I see the top 6 in the West shaking down in terms of cup odds. I do have Dallas number 1. I think they're the most complete team. I have the Canucks number 2. I have the Avs 3, the Vegas Golden Knights 4, the Oilers 5th, and the Jets 6th. That's the way I see it. I could get into depth about why I picked what I did, but I know we're at 23 minutes as well. So,
damn. No, we're rambling. We're having fun, trying to figure this thing out. We're still learning too, man. It's year 1, bro. We got a lot to do, It is what it is, Trevor Beggs, okay? Anyways, I made you repeat yourself because, again, I just wanted to just feel something. And I didn't know the Canucks were 2nd or top 5 in the league in generating high danger chances. Like, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty strong. That shows that, again, they've actually improved. They've scored less goals than they did in October, November, but they're doing all the right things that we wanted them to do. And again, in this stretch of their last 4 games, you're seeing the compete, you're seeing the effort, and you're seeing the style of hockey that I think other champions have used. Now, we talk about the lack of respect for the Canucks depth. I got 2 things to say to that. A, we did mention Dakota Joshua yesterday when we talked about the unsung heroes that could potentially, do some big things in the playoffs. We talked about the whole Tyler Mott award, when we brought up the whole 2020 flashback era of the Canucks. Dakota Joshua could have a big playoffs, especially, and I hate to do this, man, because I think these guys are bros. I think it's a team effort. I think they're just all bought into being a Canuck, but this guy still doesn't have a contract, so he has a lot to play for. I think we're also being really disrespected league-wide, and this has something to do with something that's not related to depth. It's all related to the fact that I don't think people are respecting Quinn Hughes enough. So you know how we talk about the Oilers being favorites and always being favorites because Connor McDavid is always being historic and doing things and he strikes fear, blah, blah, blah. Look at the numbers. And I know Yossi put up 90-plus points. Makar's done it, blah, blah, blah. Carlson put up 100 points last year. Maybe we're just kind of brushing it off that Quinn Hughes is doing some magnificent stuff right now. all in all, because this could go on for 15 minutes. I truly do believe that Quinn Hughes is playing at a similar level like Connor McDavid. He happens to play defense, though. When Quinn Hughes is on his game, he is so dominant. He dictates wins and losses. He really does. He's powerful. That is why, again, I think the Canucks should be way more respected, aka looked at as cup favorites. They have one of the best players in hockey playing defense who happens to be surrounded by a lot of good players. It's more Nathan McKinnon-esque, you know what I'm saying? And those guys are a favorite than it is Connor McDavid, because Connor McDavid doesn't have that much star talent around him compared to what Quinn Hughes has.
Yeah, no, and Quinn Hughes is just having, again, a fantastic season. Still has an outside shot at hitting 100 points, which would certainly put him in that MVP conversation. And I'm going to say one of the other things that, makes me lean towards the Canucks being one of the favorites, despite what everyone else might tell you, is not just the depth, but the goaltending as well. Like when I went through the rankings and I had Dallas number one, it was because they have good offense up front, good depth, good defense, good goaltending. Same with the Canucks. When I look at the other teams, there's all flaws, right? I think the Avalanche lack the goaltending. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are deep, but maybe lack the star power, especially depending on Mark Stone's health. The Edmonton Oilers lack the depth, both offensively and defensively, and lack the goaltending. So that's why I had them fifth. And I think the Jets, again, they severely lack the star power, especially compared to the top five teams above them in the West. So again, I like where the Canucks are positioned. There's a reason why we think they're better than the Oilers. It's not just fan bias, man. It's for the reasons that we set up the top. Okay, better depth, better defense, better goaltending. Those are all three pretty important things.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes, man, just so much respect for that guy, and a guy who can get a lot better. And you could argue that we haven't seen the best of him yet. There's a different level to his compete, and I think there's been a large stretch of games where he's either been good, maybe like really good, and then like a little bad prior to this 4-game stretch. Whereas before, he was, again, quite clear, just dominant. And we kind of saw that on Saturday against the Jets. So that road to 100 points still possible. And just in general, like the road to this guy getting the Conn Smythe. Everyone drop it in the comments right now, okay? Quinn Hughes for the Conn Smythe. That's possible. Anyways, Begsy, who we shouting out?
All right, let's wrap up the show, talk a little Avs Canucks. On the other side, before we do that, let's shout out our friends at FanDuel. All right, say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's number one sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 buckaroonies if you to use on point spreads, money lines, and hey, you can even pick who's going to win it all. And guess what? If you want to bet on hockey and you like the Canucks Cup odds, again, the FanDuel has the Canucks around the 10th best Cup odds as well, plus 1,800. Maybe they're copping the Athletic. A lot of hate for your Vancouver Canucks, but hey, guess what? Maybe FanDuel's just trying to help you out because we do love our friends over at FanDuel. So just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops and anything else until they cut down the nets.
We back. Talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bowen and Trevor Beggs, reminding you, yes, you, that this is the place that gives you your Canucks every day, that this is the place that's going to continue to get better. You know, me and Beggsy have a ton to learn, straight up, especially right before the playoffs. Who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs, man? I think the show's going to be a lot different. And we're also giving away tickets, man. 2 tickets to the Kings Canucks game on March the 25th. Just join the Discord, okay? Leave us a nice rating. Boom, bam. You're entered in the contest. We'll announce the winner on March the 22nd. Beggsy, the Avalanche, the Vancouver Canucks, in town. And I saw a comment that's making me think a bit, okay? It came from Roland, I believe. Here we go. Okay, Roland. And this has, something to do with the game. Do you think Philip Roenick is worth Devontae's money at $7.25 a year? Okay? I think before we talk about the game itself, I wanted to bring this up because it's not necessarily an issue, but it's a big question. And I think a lot of people are like, there's no way you can do it. He can't hold his own pairing. You got to pay this guy $6.5 million. Nothing above 7. And to me, I'm like, bro, the cap is going up. This guy's pretty good. He's proven a lot this year, and did pretty well in Detroit as well. And he's proven to be really good with Quinn Hughes as well. Like, part of the reason why Quinn Hughes is doing so well is Filip Hronek has a bit to do with that. Let's be honest. Let's be real. It's the other way around, but it's also the way I just told you as well. I'm saying keep this guy happy and keep this guy around. I'm okay with paying this guy $7 million. I mean, Colorado did with Devon Toews, and he played with Cale Makar. Why do you think they did it? You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you right now. I mean, I'm not inside Hronek's head, especially because he doesn't really talk to anybody. But you're gonna have to pay him at least $7 million. I mean, I get not wanting to go over the Hughes contract. Yeah. I get like you want him to take a bit less, like Pettersson did, to help out the team in the long term. It's been a great fit with Hronek and Hughes. I do think he's worth the Toews contract based on how he's performed this season. Anyways, now he's got a 2-season track record of being kind of a top pairing defenseman, right? So, watching him from game to game, I still have some hesitation. Like, he does make some mistakes, and he's definitely not a perfect player, but he's looked like one of the best Canucks defensemen in history and team history at the same time, which is kind of crazy to say because he's an imperfect player. We had probably more of an indictment on the Canucks history as a whole, but yeah, I'm more than happy with that. I mean, honestly, I think it could get closer to the Hughes deal, right? He could make more than Quinn Hughes. Like, that's not unfathomable. It's just that if that happens, it probably won't be in Vancouver. But he gave up assets to get this guy. I don't think this is arguably a harder negotiation than the Pettersson one because of what Hughes is making and because of what Hronek could fetch on the open market. But yeah, I think the Toews contract, to me, I'd be more than happy with that.
This is a good comment here from Dingbat, okay? If we can get Hronek on a bridge deal to truly gauge his worth, it would be the most ideal for the contending window. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what that number is at. I'm just not going to be mad if it's at 7, okay? I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm going to appreciate what this guy's done for the Vancouver Canucks. I'm also going to appreciate what he did for his value when he was with Detroit in his last season with Detroit. I'm going to believe that this guy's a great right-handed defenseman. I really am. And I'm also going to preface a lot that he has a lot to do with Quinn Hughes' success. It's just the truth. There's plays in the offensive zone, and he's able to make these plays partially because of the skill, but also because of the mindset, the way he thinks of the game. And sometimes it's really risky, but he just whipping that puck around. Like, he'll find it at the end board at the top of the blue line, and without looking, he'll just whip it to Quinn Hughes all the time. They have this play that's pretty unrecognizable across the league because it's pretty unorthodox, but it always works. And they keep pressure on. And they're a duo. And they're a duo. We saw it work with Colorado, man. Cale Makar, Devon Toews. Like, is Devon Toews or Devon Toews a $7 million player without Cale Makar? Who knows? I don't even want to know. Is Filip Hronek a $7 million player when he's playing with Quinn Hughes? He is. And it works. I'm down to keep him.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. To Dingbat's point, and again, thanks to everyone who comments on the show. It's kind of why I've said throughout the season that I'd like to see Hronek on a pair without Hughes for an extended period of time. Like, I want to know how this guy performs by himself. But Kyle, your point, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, give Hronek that contract in the low 7s and be happy with it. One point to make is that, again, obviously he's an RFA, he's arbitration eligible. He would be a UFA at the next offseason. So theoretically, if you were to sign a 1-year deal, Canucks would walk him right to free agency. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's kind of where he's at contract-wise. So you're buying UFA years for anything longer than a 1-year contract.
Yeah. That could be a scary situation. And, that 1-year arbitration type like deal could be like a small bridge deal to, see if you can do it again, see if you can prove it again. But what are the Canucks doing? Like, he's going to play again with Quinn Hughes next season. If he puts up another 50-point season, he's going to be asking for Sergachev money then, And then now you pissed him off because you guys went to arbitration. I think $7 million with the cap going up, it's going to look cheap, dude. He's pretty good. Anyways, I know you have to go pretty soon. I'll answer some comments, but can you just ramble about the Avalanche versus the Canucks tonight? Because The Smiths and net, the Colorado Avalanche are on fire, okay? Somebody had the stat. They scored 20 goals in the last 4 games. They've only allowed 5. Nathan McKinnon playing like, again, he should be recognized as a generational talent. I know it didn't start off like that in his NHL career, but look at what he's done recently. They're on fire. This is going to be a tough game. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, the Avalanche have played some good games lately, right? And beating the Canucks was one of those games. But when you look at the last 4 games, that stat where they've outscored opponents 20-5. I mean, they beat a Flames team that's reeling 6-2. They beat the Wild in overtime 2-1. They beat a Red Wings team 7-2. Red Wings, by the way, just give up 7 against the Buffalo Sabres as well. So maybe that's more an indictment on the Red Wings. Then they beat the Blackhawks 5-0. They actually lost the Predators 5-1 if you want to go back to a 5th game. So look, this Colorado team's good, no doubt. Nathan McKinnon is the MVP in the NHL this season. I hope Quentin Hughes has something to say about that when it's all said and done. But right now, it's Nathan McKinnon. It's going to be the Hart Trophy winner. But again, look at this Avalanche team. It's a great test for the Canucks, especially on home ice, whereas we were in Colorado for the last matchup. Let's see what the boys can do. And obviously, this is something we haven't talked about, the start of the Casey DeSmith era, right? This guy's going to be your starting netminder for the next couple of weeks. I think he's proven this season that he can handle the big moments, the big minutes. I wouldn't be too concerned about his numbers. I think that Minnesota game threw everything out of whack, but 4 regulation losses and 17 or 18 starts, when the guy's been solid. And a lot of that is the team playing in front of him. So the Canucks have played their best hockey over the last 4 games, their best hockey of the season, which is saying something because it's been a great season. I just want to see the Canucks keep that up tonight against a team who, according to some people, have better odds at winning the Cup than your Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah. They're a deep team, man. They got a lot of swag. They made a lot of moves. They're aggressive, and a team that could also be getting Gabe Landeskog back in the playoffs. It's a blessing to be a Canucks fan right now. Like, think about it. It's Wednesday, March the 13th, and you go back to September of this season, and we're like, yo, this team can't survive with Philip Hronek and Quinn Hughes playing together. This team's got to fight for a playoff spot. They got to play meaningful games in March, bro. Like, we're playing meaningful games in March. Hronek and Hughes are, just dominating, and a staple, and a big reason why we're at the top of the standings. And going back to those meaningful games being played in March, they're meaningful for different reasons, We didn't think we were going to be fighting for glory or respect. You get what I'm saying? We're literally thinking about fighting for a wild card spot. So enjoy the game tonight. We're blessed. It's going to be a tough one, man. My stomach, a bit of butterflies, a little nervous, not going to lie. And I'm grateful for that. Beggsy, I think you got to go, right? Am I correct on that? I'll answer some comments. I don't want to ignore the people. I was going to get out of here. I'm having a rough morning, a lot of work on my table. But I want to answer some comments before we get out of here. Beggsy, thanks for your time, man.
All right, I'm going to call a 4-3 Canucks win tonight. DeSmith has had too many overtime losses. I'm going to predict that he gets an overtime win tonight. And let's go with Nils Höglander with the overtime winner. Okay,
What?
Give Nils some overtime ice time. Let's go, baby. But I got to get out of here. Shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live YouTube show. We love each and every one of you, okay? You guys make what we are here on Locked On Canucks. Again, 2 tickets. Subscribe to the Discord, subscribe to our channel, or go leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting platform. But I got to get out of here. Kyle, you give me another idea quickly. We should talk about the takes that we were wrong about heading into the season as an episode 100%. For next month or so here. So look for that on the feed. And of course, remember, it's your Canucks every day. We got you every day, baby. Okay? Peace.
We do. Okay, let's answer some comments before we really, really get out of here. Enjoy the game tonight. Maybe predict the score. And just talk more about this Hronek thing, because it's interesting. It really is, man. Ryan Hernandez, how you feeling, man? You still sick? This guy's asking, how old is Philip Hronek? Am I right or wrong? Is this guy like 26 years old? Let's search that up. I feel like he is. Right? RFA, last year of being an RFA. 26 seems to be the right age, and it is. Okay? Born on November 2nd. Still really young. And what are you going to do? He's right-handed. Again, what are you going to do? He's going to leave? Oh, you want to get rid of this guy? Who are you going to replace him with? Again, a right-handed defenseman who picks up points. This is a stat that I heard on Sportsnet, Sat and Riccio. They said the second highest scoring right-handed defenseman who is destined to be a UFA this summer is Tyler Myers. So again, do the math. And look at DeAnders, okay? Great comment. I can see Hughes and Hronek being our Seabrook and Duncan Keith. And I think I had Callum Sandu saying Hronek wouldn't be this player without Hughes. Yeah, all those things are true. I get it. Hronek is benefiting a lot from playing with somebody as poised, as intelligent, as dynamic, as powerful as Quinn Hughes. That's the truth. But at the end of the day, it's working. Quinn Hughes looks comfortable. Quinn Hughes is able to be this powerful, this dominant, because he's got like a guy who's 88 overall, 87 overall, sometimes 89 overall playing next to him. He's not playing with the Carson Soucy. He's playing with the Philip Hronek. He's good. It's working. It's an X factor for the Vancouver Canucks. I know $7 million is a lot of money for anyone, let alone a second defenseman. But think about it too, man. Think about it too. If you're gonna pay your primetime number one defenseman who's actually really good, $10 to $11 million, whatever Quinn Hughes makes down the road, do the math. Okay, $7 million, a lot of money, but it's not that much, especially if it works the way it's working. And look at Mike, okay? Philip Hronek had the same PPG with the Red Wings. This guy's pretty good. Pretty good. Look at Dingback, man. We all know that Aquilini has to pull out the briefcase under the table to keep players from leaving to Vegas. Is that allowed? You're not allowed to do that, right? Little bonuses, right? Unregistered bonuses. Why not, man? It is what it is. Straight up. Let's go to this comment, okay? Daniel Patterson. Now, what it comes down to is the Oilers have a shot against anybody just because of McDavid and Draisaitl, but in order to win the cup, they'll need to do more than their fair share of heavy lifting. Look, again, the Patrick Mahomes effect, it could still be the case with McDavid. He'll just get it done with whatever, eventually, right? So it's hard to win the cup. But I do agree with you with the whole notion that if they were to beat the Canucks, now I'm paraphrasing a bit, those two would have to take it to a whole other level. Why? Because the Canucks are actually playing a style of hockey and playing in a way where they are relying and trusting four lines. And does this team necessarily have to do that to find success? Maybe, but maybe not. Why? Because they got Pedersen, Miller, Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, and company, they could shorten up their bench and just lean on the scale and possibly win games too. And some of that skill, when Pedersen and Miller are on, right? Some of that skill is top 10 in the whole NHL worthy. We're talking about the Oilers having McDavid and Draisaitl. Again, the Canucks have Pedersen and Miller as their 1-2 punch in their forward group. That's pretty sexy, man. It really is. The Canucks, man. Big game against the Avalanche tonight, okay? Now look at Andrew, okay? Cole is good with Soucy, but he's been struggling anywhere else. Ian Cole, man, bounced around pairings pretty much all season long. Played a lot with Noah Juleson when Juleson was struggling. You best believe that Noah Juleson has a lot of thanks to give to Ian Cole for kind of guiding him to not just relevancy, but a place in the lineup over Tyler Myers. Like, that's a strong possibility. Ian Cole and that leadership has a lot to do with that. All in all. Maybe the heavy lifting of that of that task has been eating him up just a bit. Breaking down just a bit. Load management, maybe coming Ian Cole's way. Or Carson Soucy and him just become this pairing, this safety blanket for the Vancouver Canucks and for Ian Cole to find his game. Look at Callum, okay? Another defenseman. Maybe this is the last one, okay? Tyler Myers is going to prove all his detractors wrong in the playoffs. God wills it. God on Tyler Myers' side. Bro, why not? Why not? He's played better. And he has like the skill set to be a bit of an outlier in the playoffs. And outliers become heroes in the playoffs if all goes well. He's also looking for a new contract too. Can we end on that note? Is that mean to me to keep bringing up how the Canucks may be in really good shape this season because they have a lot of players individually who are still fighting for contracts? You get what I'm saying? AKA, they're going to get the most out of them. Longer playoff runs probably equate to bigger paydays. Tyler Myers, a lot to play for. Straight up. Last comment, okay? Locked on Wild, one love to you. This guy's saying Susie and Ian Cole both played together as a third pair with the Wild a few years ago, and honestly, they were super solid. Begsy, man, alluding to this many times over the past couple of days, and even in September, and now we got confirmation from Locked on Wild, okay? Those guys. I think it's actually a guy. A legend on the Locked On Podcast Network. Go check him out. And if he's given the cosign, bro, think about it. There could be something there. The Canucks, a deep team, a deeper team than the league thinks, okay? And I think, again, after going through the names and doing some of the analyzation today and comparing to other teams in the West, I'm starting to realize that, the Vancouver Canucks are really deep. Really deep. A scary team. Go Canucks, go. Anyways, my name's Kyle Bowen. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for sticking around. Dude, 46 minutes. Bro, the people at Locked On aren't going to be happy about this. But, hey, it's your Canucks every day. It is what it is. We haven't played hockey in a long time, okay? We have to get talking. Speaking of talking, the Discord going off every day. We're talking a lot there about life, about books, about the Canucks, about music. Join it. I'll put the link in the bio. And if you join it, you get a chance. Yes, a chance to win some Canucks tickets for a game against the Kings on March the 25th. We'll announce the winner on March the 22nd. Hit the like button and subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. And do your best to enjoy tonight's game to the fullest. And what I'm trying to say is, eat some buffalo wings, man. Eat some buffalo wings and wipe your hands on your jeans. You can do that, okay? Because you're a Vancouver Canucks fan. You can do whatever you want. And on that note, we're winning the Stanley Cup, and Quinn Hughes is winning the Conn Smythe. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. We love you. We appreciate you. Peace, peace, peace. One love. Go Canucks, go, and bye.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of